All right. Well, welcome to another.
You're up, DJ. You can start now. You got it there, DJ.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much, man. All right. Well, welcome
you don't have to repeat yourself so much. You're on your own delay.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much, man.
Look at you. Stop repeating yourself.
Stop it.
As you guys can see, this is the Halloween show. A lot of weird things seem to be happening, and I'm gonna blame it all on Matt Michaels. So it's just easier. Welcome to another edition of Vegas Bad Boys. I'm your host DJ Impact. I got all the bad boys here with me. We're excited to be on tonight. Hell in a Cell just came off. A lot to dissect there. Also, another big pay-per-view this weekend, Bound for Glory. We're going to get into that, and also a lot of the wrestling shows that happened during the week. So if you got any comments, just jot it down in our Facebook live feed comments, and we welcome all of our Periscope and YouTube, Twitch followers and viewers of this podcast. So enjoy and, put in a comment if you got something to say. Guys, let's jump right into it. Hell in a Cell. I didn't know what to expect going into this. Last week, we only had 3 matches that we knew of, and that's because we just got off of the drafts. And then we come to find out what other matches. And I got to tell you, I don't think they failed to deliver on this pay-per-view. Guys, what's your take on it?
I thought it was a good, very good pay-per-view. I'm not even going to say good. I thought it was very good. Mm-hmm. From the way that it started to the way that it finished, and they had some good stuff in the middle there. Mm-hmm. But I thought it was a very good pay-per-view.
Is there anybody who thought that it wasn't that good or could have been better? Okay.
I think that I first want to say the actual Hell in a Cell matches were great. I enjoyed them. Okay. They were great. But the matches that were not Hell in a Cell weren't horrible, but they were not on the level as those Hell in a Cell matches.
Not on the level of the Hell in a Cell matches. It's in a fucking cell, and it's hell.
It wasn't on the level. Anyways, go ahead, Matt Michaels. I'm not going to stop you. Go ahead. Speak your mind.
Oh, I want to hear what you thought about these matches that were apparently not good.
Well, first of all, I give 2 shits about Otis and whether or not he won or didn't win. I was just like, okay, yeah, at least
it's about an angle that's been going for fucking 6 months.
Yeah, but you talk about one topic for about 6 months too, and we don't give a shit about that either. But you don't see me complaining.
Well, look, let's start right there. Okay, did anybody see the swerve coming on Otis at all? Can anyone say, man, I saw Tucky? You saw that, Matt Michaels?
Yeah, I said it in the chat right before it happened. I'm like, they're about to make the turn.
Mm-hmm.
It was. I mean, that was actually, and it's not like I saw this, I'm great. No, it meant that they booked it fucking right.
Right.
I used to
I don't know. I like Otis. I'm high on Otis. Yeah. And I think, listen, if you want to take it off of him, I'm okay with that too. I'm a little sad for Otis. Okay. But why the Miz?
Because he's a mouthpiece.
I know that they've been in the story with the Miz and the whole 9.
And also, too, you forget one thing. You forget one thing.
What's that?
And correct me if I'm wrong, because I just thought about it literally just now. Daniel Bryan, is he on Raw or SmackDown? I just want to make sure.
SmackDown.
Oh, he's on SmackDown. Never mind. And that went through the roof. I thought maybe that would have been cool. Because he only has 1 year on his contract. So immediately, just now thinking, I thought, man, that would have been cool. But outside of what I just thought of, I think that the Miz is, if you're going to give it to somebody, I wouldn't mind that, because I think that he could make for an interesting match in the future when he decides to cash it in.
But who would he defend that against? Yeah. I mean, he ain't gonna take it from Orton.
Yeah.
I mean,
no.
I think
You're just assuming right away that he'd go against Orton.
Well, I just threw that
think
name
he
out
would.
there. I mean, I know he has access to any title, but I don't know.
But you just literally threw out something that's like right now. Who's to say Orton has that belt within the next 4 weeks?
Okay.
True. He may not.
Okay.
Yeah, everyone's booking here so fast, and all you guys complain about is, oh, continuity is not there, and they don't develop storylines, and blah blah fucking blah. They're doing it now. It's like, well, I don't want to see this guy with the fucking briefcase.
I haven't said a fucking word, and I'm the one that always talks about continuity.
Yeah, I agree, Steve.
I-
You're probably actually.
Ooh.
I have no problems with what they did. Zero issue. I thought it was fucking masterfully done. I mean, it as you just mentioned, Michaels, they worked on this storyline for 6 months, and this was the logical kind of conclusion, that wraps it up in a pretty precise way. And it allows you to quickly spin Otis away from the Miz and allows you to, throw the Miz up into the upper tier of the card. And you've got a feud. Now, granted, if WWE wants to do what they love to do, and that is go against their very own storylines and, again, continuity, keep in mind, Tucker is on a different brand than Otis. How are they going to pay this off? Are they going to pay this off? Or is this just going to be just a clean break?
Well, I think that the next pay-per-view
Survivor Series.
Survivor Series.
Which is the only time all year that Raw and SmackDown superstars can wrestle each other, supposedly.
except for WrestleMania.
Except for WrestleMania and the wild card rule and every other week where we forget a rule or we just want to develop one out of fucking thin air.
Oh man.
It was boring.
But the answer here, Lucky, is who did you want to take that briefcase then?
I don't know. I guess, listen, it's fine. It makes sense. They blew off the angle. Now it's done. I'm an Otis fan, so
Are you really?
In the future,
Are you really?
Yeah.
You really?
I've
Well,
always
you're
been
going to
fan
be
of
a
Otis.
sad fan because what the hell is he going to do?
He's for the
Well, they
working
gave him
man.
some new music, baby. So I'm not worried about it. I think he's gonna be all right.
Have him, you know what? He should challenge for a title. Like, I legitimately think that Otis should be in the running for a championship.
Really?
Now, granted, that championship is the 24/7 championship.
Thank you.
But
Thank you.
nonetheless,
Thank you. Because
Hey,
that's
you
the
know
only
what?
title I can
And
see
I'm
him have.
And I'm okay with that, But I'd be okay with him being United States champion or Intercontinental champion in the future too.
Do you honestly think he'd be a great United States champion or Intercontinental champion? Like, honestly.
For a short run.
For a short run, short as shit. I'm saying, man, Otis is somebody that needs to be with somebody.
Hey, listen, I like him as a face, but man, when that dude turns fucking heel, he's gonna be.
Yeah, he's gonna go in catering and eat all the fucking food.
He's gonna be a monster. He's better than that fuck Lars Sullivan.
Wait. He's going to be a monster. Tucker,
The Cookie Monster.
actually going to be a monster, was the right turn. You don't make Otis a heel.
Well, no, not right now. I'm saying later down the line. I'm not talking about right now.
Ever.
It wouldn't
Period.
work. It wouldn't work.
He's not.
It would work.
You think it would work?
Yes, I believe it will work.
All right. I
Wow.
mean,
Wow.
hey,
Explain yourself.
yes.
Hey, when that finally happens, just remember today, okay?
the only
No.
Well, hold on. Time out. You're gonna let us know anyway, so you don't have to tell us.
I
to
will
remember.
let you know. You
the
don't have to
only
worry
way
because
the
I
only
will.
way that an Otis heel turn would ever work is if they explained it by him getting dropped on his fucking head and he undergoes some sort of a legitimate personality change. He changes the overall timbre of his voice, the way that he communicates, gets rid of the fucking Tucky and all of the stupid juvenile fucking horseshit that comes out of his mouth and goes to be a fucking stone cold killer. That's
Maybe
not going to
you guys-
happen though.
Maybe you guys like him better if he teamed up with Cameron Grimes.
I like him better if he's
No,
off.
wait. Can we
If
just
he's
stop?
off.
Can we just wait? Stop making the jokes. Lucky, tell us what the fuck you think makes him a viable heel in the future.
You know what? Hey, listen, everybody likes their form of entertainment, right? Otis entertains me. And in the future, this guy is always known for being such a happy, jolly-go-lucky guy. In the future, when he makes the turn, dude's a brick fucking house. He's fucking huge. He can go. I think he's a future star.
But how? I get what
We
you're saying.
don't need to waste time on how today. We're talking about Hell in a Cell breakdown. We can get into that on the future show.
Let's get to this. You just said brick house. You said brick house.
Yeah,
that
like
man is not a brick house, man. That man is as fat as I am. Let's be honest. No, let's
all
be
right,
fun.
man. Whatever. You guys can have it back, and you're fucking Cameron Grimes too.
Well, I tell you
But
this.
let me ask you a serious question. Eugene, do you think Eugene would have ever been a great heel? Not Nick, not the actual wrestler, but that character as a heel.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
And Otis will be.
I see more upside for Otis.
Lot.
I see more upside for Otis. And I'll leave it at that. There's probably people that agree and people that disagree.
Well, speaking of comedy, did anyone enjoy the pre-show at all? I mean, Gulak was actually talking to little Jimmy, and then he kicked him out of the ring. I thought that was pretty exciting. But that's that was I guess the lowest part of the show.
I won't like little Jimmy until he turns heel in a couple years.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Hey,
King.
Otis.
All right, look, let's talk about it, right? Roman Reigns and Jey Uso. Let me tell you something.
Wow.
I was, it's not often I get emotionally involved into matches, but that one I really was. And I was just like, man, it was sold so great that, again, when you just take yourself out of the element of this is theater and you take it for what it is, I was just like, man, these guys right here. I mean, you really was sold that Roman just he just don't like Jey right now, And I just thought that just overall the wrestling was what it was, which wasn't bad, but everything else around that was just on point, even to the point of after it was over and pretty much he was at the front of the family. What was you guys' take on that particular match that took place? It started off the show. Great way to start the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view.
Wow. I mean, listen, this storyline, they could have, they could have done, something quick with it, but what they did with it was just amazing. And they doubled down on it at the end there. I mean, first of all, you got a strap match inside of a Hell in a Cell too. I mean, they were fucking whipping each other real bad. And then the ending to that match, wow. With Jimmy coming out and then him and Roman sharing that moment there. And then Roman just snaps on him, boom, puts him into submission. Jey, ultimately he's reaching for Jey and they lock hands.
Right.
Dude,
yeah.
They fucking, wow.
Yeah.
They
that
told
was
a story.
Absolutely.
And then he ultimately had to say, I quit because he wanted to save his brother. And then you saw Roman head up to the top of the ramp and he got his, his coronation sitting at the head of the table. It was awesome.
They fucked up one aspect of that. They should have taken out Alpha and Seeker right there. Why not?
Man.
Listen. For a quick second,
You thought it was going to happen?
I thought that might happen, but then at the same time, I was like, why?
Yeah.
Right.
I thought it would have been overkill if they would have.
Why? Why not? It's wrestling. It's not like this is fucking real life, Lucky. Fucking do it. If you're gonna go all the way that much as you're the head of the family, why not kill off your father and his brother.
Damn.
Sure.
Michaels is fucking sadistic.
No, he not. No, he not. He just thinks that.
But yeah, no,
as far
I
as
mean,
that
listen,
ending-
that would have been.
I was just gonna say, as far as that ending, like what that meant to me was that the two elders had admitted that he was, that he was the tribal chief.
Yeah.
They didn't have microphones to out and out say that he was the tribal chief. And instead what they did was they coronated him with the lay. So that's why I'm cool with the fact that he didn't kill them. But dude, I can just simply say, if the show from top to bottom had the different layering and the different character development aspects that this angle has had, I would be a much happier WWE viewer, and I would not be as disenfranchised with the product as I have been. Point blank.
Absolutely.
I agree. I mean, they have. I mean, and there's so much more that you can do with this storyline. You can have Rikishi come out, and and try to talk. You could, hey, listen. You can have him try to talk some sense into Roman.
Why? You've already set up what's happening, which is what we called for weeks ago, and that is the Usos are now going to be his fucking hitman. They have to do what he says.
Yeah,
it's the perfect way. Why keep fighting it? Now you already transferred it. Just go with it now.
Yeah. And you know what it's ultimately leading up to?
Of course.
Him and the Brahma Bull.
I gotta disagree with a lot of the stuff y'all saying, because I feel like, in the words of Matt Michaels, y'all are missing something.
Tell us, enlighten us, Simon Street.
I am. At the end of the day, there are different types of families. There are families that most of us have in common, and then there are warrior families. Okay? In a warrior family, don't roll your damn eyes, Michaels. I see you over there. At the end of the day, there are warrior families, and your hierarchy will be looked at as the pinnacle, the representative of your family tree line. So in this storyline, which was amazing, I love this storyline. This is the best freaking work Roman Reigns has done thus date. That's just my opinion. Plain and simple. We are seeing the best. Now, at the end of the road, I do see that, yeah, he's going to go up against The Rock at some point. I get that. But we're talking about now. Now, the reason why he shouldn't have taken out his elder tribesmen is because the signification of what he said in that match. When you at the head of the table, you don't quit. When you at the head of the table, you have to basically think differently. And that was the thing that separates Roman Reigns from the Usos. The Usos are great, but they'll never be head of the table because they don't have what it takes to be the head of the table, make those hard decisions. Do you see what I'm saying? And that's what separated. And that's why when he went up the top of the ring and he had his official coordination, you have the high chieftain that is going to represent. And that's the storyline that they're conveying. I get what Michaels was saying, that, it's not real life. I get it. But at the end of the day, this is art that imitates real life. And I can imagine a long time ago, shit was like that. Not everybody's meant to be a chief. Some people are meant to be followers. And Roman showed that in this match. It's amazing.
What are you disagreeing with any of us on? You just said everything that
I think
he was mostly disagreeing with you. What you said.
I just said that taking out your elder tribesmen would have made no goddamn sense. Do you understand the words that came out of my mouth, Michaels?
Wrestling, Jack.
I'm talking about freaking art.
No. These warriors.
Oh my goodness. Of course I couldn't get you to understand what I'm talking about because you ain't got a warrior bone in your body. But that's okay. Still love you.
Okay. Let's jump over into the women's SmackDown championship match.
Whoa.
Man.
Yes.
First off, let me just say, and we already know that they are beautiful women, but they were just on point tonight with their look. I love it. I mean, even Bailey was like, hey, let me talk to you after the show.
That's what you got from that match?
No, I'm
creepy.
You say?
I ain't glad.
Whatever.
Let me talk to you.
Let me talk to you after the match. All right.
Yeah.
No. We're gonna talk about it. I'm just saying, just overall, the camera, it just loved their appearance tonight. It was awesome. The
What
match
you said is you would like to be the cameraman.
there you go. Zoom in, zoom out. But the match, man, on to another level, man. They pulled out all types of tricks tonight, man. At first, I mean, the camera angle was just so perfect on how Sasha took that fall going through the Kindle stick onto the stairs. I actually thought, man, that looked like that really there was some damage really done there, even the replay. I mean, everything was just done so well. I mean, you guys, what's your take on that match? I mean, and shout out to Sasha, right? Actually getting the title, which I didn't think was going to happen.
You didn't think that was going to happen?
Not tonight. I didn't think it was going to happen.
You didn't think that was going to happen tonight?
I didn't.
Oh,
her
man,
attire, the color of her attire kind of gave it away. But I will say this. Shout out to both women. They put on a spectacular performance. Mm-hmm. Sasha being in these Hell in a Cell matches, could call a lot of stuff. And I mean, she just sells tremendously, right? And for a second there, I didn't think she was going to get the title. But you know what? She did the chair move and stomped her out and did all that in the submission and was, stomping on the chair. It was brilliant. I mean, it was a 5-star match.
So you're saying that Sasha called the match?
Listen, Sasha being the veteran of Hell in a Cell matches.
Shut the fuck up.
I could see whatever.
No, because
you're on a whole new level of positivity tonight.
Must be the background. Heels call the match, buddy.
Hey,
those two who know each other, it doesn't matter who the fuck the person calling the match is, because most likely they're both calling shit. Sasha did one thing that was very, 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 very reckless, and that was taking that she took a chair shot to the head by allowing Bayley to throw her into that chair like that. That's like fucking the most dangerous thing they did out of all this shit. But other than that, fucking the match was great.
I wouldn't have did the part where Sasha ran and jumped on the ladder to do the knee. I was like, dude, you could have easily slipped, or feet would have went through one of the anything bad could have happened there.
But you know what? And I'll tell you what, when I saw that spot, because you've never really seen that spot before, I knew that they had to practice that spot before doing, any of that.
Yeah.
That's my belief. And
I'm sure they practice
it. Tell me something different, but when
you're in a live setting, anything could go wrong if something's not set up correctly.
Yeah,
that was my worry.
Very true.
Yeah.
That was a hell of a spot. Yeah, that was good. Wow.
And also,
things did go wrong. On the kendo stick spot, there were supposed to be kendo sticks to help break that fall a little bit more. When that first one popped out, it was like, good luck, here we go. So, even that chair shot in the corner like that, you want to protect yourself more, but when you're in the moment, you don't get a chance to protect yourself. Shit happens. You might get yelled at backstage because you're not supposed to be banging your head on shit anymore. But you're right. I mean, that ladder spot, she could have broke her leg.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And then I also wanted to shout out just how the match started. Wasn't that pretty awesome how she was able to kick that chair and it went right out of the outside area? That was, dude.
Good timing.
Yeah.
They must have really rehearsed that one because that could have fallen flat.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was incredible. That might be my favorite Hell in a Cell by the ladies. Not overall in totality, but that might be my favorite one by the ladies. The one with her and Charlotte was very good too, but This one was very, very well done.
Yeah.
They took some chances and it paid off.
Steve, what's your
Amazing
thought?
match. Honestly, out of all of the three, out of all of the Hell in a Cell matches themselves, this was far and away the one that I was the most attached to, and yeah, it was the best overall Hell in a Cell match, and quite frankly, one of the better ones for the last couple of years, in my opinion.
You know what made this pay-per-view different than other pay-per-views, and even with not having a full announcement of other matches, that everything that was on the card had some kind of story through line to it.
Yep.
The first time we've seen it in fucking forever.
In years.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say that there was a lot of pressure on them for this match. And the reason why I say that is because when you have a history of having one of the greatest matches, I would say not just NXT history, but as a women's match really of all time, it's in easily top 5, easily, with Sasha and Bayley NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. It's a lot of pressure, a lot of buildup, a lot of expectation, not only the fans, but, just only for, Sasha and Bayley. What they put on today, they not only showed to me and other people that they can handle that pressure, which most of us already knew that, but they put on a hell of a show. And I'm happy with the result. Obviously, I'm a huge Sasha Banks fan, but I like the way that it was won, even to the point at the end where she didn't even look at the title at first. She kept her eyes on Bayley. This is a way different Sasha than what we're used to. This is a Sasha that's focused. I do believe that the company is pushing for a stronger performing Sasha. I do believe that she's not going to be cursed like she has before, to where she's not having long title reigns. I feel like she'll have a good title reign. And I'm super excited to see what Sasha's going to do next. Super excited, super happy. My household was excited on cloud 9 to 10 when she won. And those are the moments that I think all of us can agree. That's why we love this sport. We love it for these moments. And they did. Thank you, Sasha and Bayley. And thank you for women's wrestling.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's get into what Matt Michaels finally got his wish on, the WWE Championship match.
Oh, wait! I thought you were talking about Elias getting hit with the guitar.
No.
Oh,
I thought it was the moment where Lashley snuffed the retribution.
That's what I said in the beginning of why those matches were boring. Like, it was something that could have been on Raw. It was boring. But I get it.
The Elias one wasn't boring, man. I mean,
I didn't big time care for it. I'm not saying it was shit, but for me personally, my opinion was I really wasn't invested in watching it. I watched it, but I wasn't invested.
All right.
I'm more invested in buying his album.
Which you can't find on iTunes.
I know. I looked, and then you showed it.
Yeah.
You went to Amazon too?
It's supposed to come out tomorrow.
What sucks? You know what really sucks? I didn't look much into, maybe you guys did, but the performance he had on Monday Night Raw, I was impressed. I was actually duped, if I could say so. I was like, well, I might actually want to buy this damn album. See what the hell's going on. I was duped, apparently.
Nice job, King Lucky.
All right, let's get into it. Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre. Let's go. What's your take?
Good match. It's good. And
Are you happy to have the belt off of Drew?
Listen, Drew, to me, I don't have a problem with him like Michaels does.
Yeah, I don't.
I think Drew represented well. It sucks for him that, he didn't get his WrestleMania moment in front of fans. He probably will get a WrestleMania moment in front of fans, and it'll be just dude. Dude is a stud, man. I like on the mic, in the ring, I have no issue with it. So I had no, I wasn't rooting for him to lose the title. I'm more so happy that Randy Orton got another title.
Understandable. Okay. Anybody else want to talk about this exciting match? I mean, we have a new WWE champion.
I mean, it was a good match. Like you said, the one thing that stood out to me in this match that I was like, we've seen this before, is Randy going up at the top and then going back down, and they're like on that one side. I knew someone was going to drop, obviously, but I was like, we've seen this.
Was insane.
Did you really? Were you moved by that bump? Because I swear I've seen that bump quite a few times in the last.
No matter how many times you see it, fuck, man, that's.
But you don't see it by a guy that's true size.
Yeah,
I will give you that. I was interested by that, but maybe it's just me. It wasn't 100% underwhelming, but I felt like, okay, I've seen it before. Somebody's gonna fall. Looks like it's gonna be Drew. Okay, he fell. All right.
No, I definitely carried more weight than that with me. I was like, holy shit.
You were crying? Crying?
No, I wasn't crying. I was scratching my cheek there just in case you needed to know.
Okay, I'm wondering.
But the fact that they piped in the holy shits was pretty crazy.
That was cool. That was cool.
That was, that made it even more. And the bump itself was just insane, but that made it even more impactful.
With Mick Foley setting the goal so high with the Taker match and him going over, do we ever think we will see anyone top that or come equal to that in the future? Because every time we do see two people that high, we never know if we're about to have one of those.
The only way you can top that is death.
No. The only person that
there
can
ain't no topping this.
Hold on. If ever that was a way, Impact, there's only one man that might actually be able to get through the legality so it doesn't get back is Shane McMahon. He's gonna be the only person that
Shane has leaked off of that.
I know, but I'm saying to beat what Nick Foley presented. I'm saying there's only one person. I know he won't, but I'm saying
nobody will.
Whoa. Shane can beat it.
Do you really think he did?
Yes, because think about it. First of all, the Foley thing was. Well, the Foley thing is simple like this. That wasn't supposed to happen.
Yeah, sure. It was dumb luck that happened.
Progression of the match wasn't supposed to happen like that. So you're assuming you're putting a bar on something that realistically no one should ever fucking do.
Mm-hmm.
That is, do a spot off the cage to the point where you barely got the rotation through, you were barely protected, you get wheeled out, then you decide to come back down because you're out of your mind. You climb up on top of a cage, which was not reinforced like it is, nowadays. I mean, after they did that, they started reinforcing that cage.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not comparable. The reason Shane had the best moment, fall, whatever, is because Shane actually was dropping a fucking elbow.
Yeah, he did.
You had to hit your target. If he would have missed it by that much, it would have been fucking tragic.
And that's why I was also saying too, if anybody could have, with the dangerousness of what Foley did, obviously it was unprecedented, but I'm saying I could see one of the McMahons, obviously Shane, finding some kind of legality way to assume whatever the hell would happen or to take that crazy risk. I'm just thinking of the liability reason per se. But yes, you're right, Michaels. There will never be nobody that will top Mick Foley, I believe. I mean, unless it's like a sad tragedy, which I wouldn't want that.
No, I'm saying, well, first of all, sad tragedy is not topping.
Yeah, no.
What do you mean it's not topping? I'm saying that if somebody had tried it would be tragic. That's what I'm saying.
The only thing that can top Mick Foley for you is seeing someone die.
Again, that's what I meant. No one wants to see that. I'm just saying, no one wants to see that.
All right, let's jump back over into it though. Sissy Steve or Matt Michaels, Drew McIntyre no longer our WWE champion. We have Randy Orton. What's your take?
I'm on board with it.
Okay.
So I think Drew did very admirably in what was an elevation move. They took Drew, a guy that, you know, they had all this expectation level for in the previous time that he was with the company, unceremoniously let go. It's one hell of a redemption arc when you look at it, because he really did go back. He went to the Indies, started out from the bottom. I remember watching him on a couple of like WrestleCon Super Show during WrestleMania week one year, and he embraced where he had to start from. So he was on the mountain, you know, he was on the side of the mountain, and then he got booted off and realized that he had to start all the way down at the bottom and climb his way back up. And when he finally reached the peak at WrestleMania, it was fulfilling for a lot of people that saw him go through that journey. And, you know, I think that he did as good of a job as anybody could have expected because of the uncertainty of what we've been dealing with in the name of COVID and, you know, our world today. Yeah. So I think that he did an extremely fine job, as, you know, carrying the banner and carrying that championship. But I am excited to see what Randy Orton does, because as we all know, when Randy Orton is motivated about a storyline or an angle or something, he pulls it off extremely well, and he's all in with it. So I'm just hoping that this title reign, that he is all in on it.
Well, we already saw that. I mean, with this angle, he definitely was all in.
Right.
There's no doubt. I'm assuming there has to be a blueprint of what's going on for the next, you know, couple of months or potentially leading up to WrestleMania. You know, everyone wants to be a Meltzer and assume that it's going to be Edge and Orton at WrestleMania. Okay.
Isn't that supposedly the plan according to Meltzer though?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay.
Great Prophet Meltzer.
Yeah, I think, you know, first off, twofold on Drew. Number one, it was a chance for him to be put in a prominent role and actually get a chance to see what he could do. Did he do a horrible job? No. Did he do a spectacular job? No. He did a good job. The reason I say that is this. Steve, you like to go into ratings, right? And one of the big ratings that you've noticed since COVID-19, since WrestleMania, is that Raw is doing shit numbers. He was your champ the whole fucking time.
Yep.
So I think logically for now, good move for them, because Orton is a name already established, and it might draw more eyes to the product. You'll also then, the thing with Orton is that you can go either way. He's spectacular heel, but you know that the audience likes him, so he, you know, has been a face in the past. If you're looking at elevating The Miz, that might be your way to go. Have Miz feud with him and have Miz be the heel and Orton be the face. But it's right now, it's kind of head scratching on what they're actually going to do. You know, we'll see, because I can't think off the top of my head. I can't think of who the next in line is in terms of Raw faces, especially after the shakeup. So
yeah,
I don't know. We might see Drew and Randy again at Survivor Series, and maybe the belt gets thrown back.
Interesting. Okay. Well, that is selling the sale. Overall, I think it was a good pay-per-view. It looked like we kind of all agree with that. So, good job on WWE for entertaining us there. Let's take a look at Raw and SmackDown of this past week. Anything unrelated to the pay-per-view that should be mentioned you guys want to throw out there from either show?
Man, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. But,
Hallelujah.
But
I thought you were going to recap both shows from top to bottom. Like you do every week.
Hey, you know what? Welcome to the kingdom, baby.
Wow, you came up with that yourself.
But
I'm proud.
Listen. The way they started Raw was excellent. Okay? Alexa Bliss in the ring, the red lights, the Fiend. Even I'm okay with maybe the Retribution coming in. But why did they have them feud with the Fiend for that short moment and have him take all of them out? You've been building this up for months. These guys have zero credibility. That you already saw at the pay-per-view, they lost. I mean, what was the point of that? They lose every week on Raw. What's the point of that? So it's pointless to me.
Can I interject?
Yeah.
Because I see where you're going. And I thought the same way until I had an epiphany for myself. What if the Retribution merely needs a little bit of Fiend sprinkle and seasoning? Now, as we've seen in the past, the Fiend, anybody that he decides to go up against, gets transformed. They become darker. They become more sadistic, right? Let me in. That's the whole phrase. What if, at the end of the day, it might be a stretch. Let's just say the Fiend gets a hold of, Aladdin, aka Kama Mustafa, and, actually does what the Fiend does. Or maybe they do something different with the Fiend and he gets a hold of the Retribution. Don't mute me, Mike Michaels. Don't mute me because I know you've touched that button.
We got to stop for a second here because you just called Mustafa Ali Kama Mustafa.
Yep.
No, my bad.
Yeah.
Anyways, Mustafa Ali. Anyways, besides the point, you stopped me for that. Come on.
Well, because anyone listening might go, wait a minute, when did the Fiend encounter Kama Mustafa?
Well, you see, he did that and then turned him into the Godfather.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what it was.
There you go.
So now they're just going to retcon. They're just going to retcon the Fiend into every single turn in WWE history.
He'll go back in time and do it. Now, thank you for the correction. No, I'm just saying, what if there was something that they did that and made? Because let's be honest, the obvious is here. The Retribution is weak sauce. It's weak. How many of y'all think that the Retribution is actually something to be feared on Raw?
Well, not now, especially they get their ass whooped every week.
Okay. So it took you this past Monday night to realize what I've been realizing for the last 2 weeks.
So what you guys are looking at it through is through obviously, Simon, you're projecting, all right? You're thinking, well, what if the Fiend, this rubs off, etc. Lucky you're going, man, they didn't do anything with them. What you're forgetting is one thing, and that is the Hurt Business has essentially been established solely by kicking the Retribution's ass. So you got to go at some point. You got to go, all right, whoever came up with the idea, whether maybe it was Heyman, right? Heyman gets switched out, and now you're kind of stuck with this, something that kind of was getting started that they're just kind of finishing off, whatever. The idea, though, is that Mustafa Ali is not a fucking superstar. He's not your put the title on him, big name, right?
Right.
So what you're looking at essentially is some group that the Hurt Business could actually work with. And that's what they're there for right now. The fact that they pulled him off SmackDown, that they stopped those angles and stuff, they're there for one specific reason. That is to put over the Hurt Business. Once that's over, you can probably see that they're going to get pared down most likely, and you're going to see maybe like a tag team merge out of it or something like that. You're going to see these guys drop out. Period.
Yeah, you have a point. You have a point. It just sucks because at the end of the day, it's like, okay, I get your science, but I would prefer the Retribution to be a little bit bigger than what they are. I'm now getting tired of seeing the Hurt Business run shop over Retribution Monday after Monday after Monday. I'm tired of it. So whatever needs to change, I hope it changes.
MVP said it best. They hoes. They're the Hurt Business.
But
I guess.
But yeah, you're missing out. You're missing out on one simple factor, and that is in wrestling and in storytelling, you can't just have everyone be this fucking super empowered thing.
Of course.
I get that, but I just feel like there's nothing, and again, it's just me. I feel like there's nothing special about Retribution. I felt even this past Monday, which would have been great for the Hurt Business to say, is what we're going to do is we're now going to unmask you and expose you for the phonies and the weak sauces that you are. And go by East Flapjack, whatever his name is, or, and unmask him. I felt like that could carry on for maybe 3 more Monday nights.
Yeah, but
I'm bored.
But you know what? Here's the issue I have with this. The people that are in that group, like there's a couple people in that group that I'm really high on, like Dominic Dijakovic and Mia Yim, like what to make of their careers after. I mean, it's still short. It's one angle.
Careers will be fine, man.
They'll be fine.
That's why they're in these characters, because when I see it, I'm not thinking of those people. I'm not thinking of them at all.
No.
Until you gave me a Yim.
Except for Mia Yim. Except for Mia Yim.
No, I forget she's fucking part of it, man.
Well, yeah, because she ain't got no one to fight. So every time the man come out, she roll out.
And then you have someone like me who don't read any dirt sheets or who can't look around the shape of the head of a mask to go, oh, that's Dijakovic, because I didn't know until you just told me right now.
Okay,
no, I'm just being honest.
I get Dijakovic, but you can't sit here and tell me, in fact, you didn't know that was Mia Yim.
No, I know that was me.
Okay, all right, I'm about to say, okay.
But I don't know everybody in there. I'm just saying.
No, I get you with that.
Yeah.
And
so
there you go.
Once again, your biggest factor here is that you're looking at it through the eyes of an adult male. The fact of the matter is that if you put that in front of the eyes of kids, these guys are beating up these super villain type things. If you watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, who the fuck was the guy with the hockey mask?
It was what you call it? Damn, I can't think of his name.
Whatever.
Slade.
Is that Casey Jones?
Casey Jones. There you go, Casey Jones.
But that's the type of thing you're looking at. Look at Cobra, G.I. Joe, right? You had a couple standout villains, but the Cobra soldiers were different, bad guys who just their job was to get beat up.
You know what I really want to do, and I'm being honest, guys, when I say this, Matt Michaels, I believe you when you say the product is presented for kids. I have a really hard time believing that 100%. I would love to at some point freaking interview 25 fucking kids and find out, like show them clips of Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, and just really wonder, because I gotta be honest, I got kids and they get excited seeing the big names. They don't get excited over no fucking Retribution. They ask like, why is he wearing a mask?
But again,
now, are we talking about 80s kids, 90s kids? Because these kids, they're not into that shit. I feel, my opinion.
Anyway, it's much easier when that happens.
You say that because you ain't got fucking kids. So how the fuck would you know? You don't even hang around kids or watch kids or babysit. I'm just saying.
I don't also hang out with 15-year-old or 14-year-old high school kids.
You can spin it around any way you want. There's people that watch this show who actually.
Okay. Anyway.
And I'm just
Let
going
me
to keep unmuting myself. I'm going to keep doing it. Let's do this the whole fucking show.
Well, will you let me fucking finish my sentence?
You didn't let me finish my sentence. So keep
You
going. Keep muting.
just-
Please. Mute me again. Come on, Michaels. Show me your balls and mute me.
Come
on. Mute me.
Okay. Oh, don't worry.
Oh, you're going to kick me off? That what you're going to do now? That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Can I just finish my sentence? That's what I wanted to know. The muting's childish.
For fuck's sake, say something then.
I'm waiting.
Jesus Christ.
So anyways, all I was merely saying is I understand what you're saying, Michaels, because I do feel that the product is presented to kids. But every time that I get opportunity to speak to kids, because I am a mentor in my community, by the way, that's why I'm around younger people. I always do ask them about wrestling because they know I like wrestling. I wonder sometimes, do they really tangibly see that, such as you mentioned, Retribution being these monsters, supervillains, if you will call it. I feel like they don't see that. And I feel like WWE is missing that point. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
So the fact of the matter is very simple. The idea is this. You're saying that, why do they wear masks or something like that being a kid's response? They want to see the big names, the big stars. Okay. So let me ask you this. Does it matter if a guy like Divakovic or anyone else who is essentially a mid to lower card person comes up and instead of having something for them to do, you just have them be themselves and have the Hurt Business beat them? Right? Big deal. At least here, you're giving something where you try to make something. Listen, they're making as best chicken salad out of chicken shit as they can do, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what you're looking at is essentially this. You have these masked guys. They're obvious villains, right? You have them beat up by the Hurt Business, who the Hurt Business were fucking villains, but now they're faces, but they're still villains. So you see that, but basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to make them the main event people that your kids want to see. But to do that, they have to beat fucking lower card to nobody people, right? That's what wrestling is. We can't just keep thinking that, oh, I want to see this done bigger and this done better. Sometimes you just got to go, logically speaking, to convey the point and build what you want to build. That's what you have to do. Right? The same. Let's, SmackDown. If you look at Otis, who Lucky thinks has upside, all right, you split up Otis and Tucker. What do you do to make Tucker now kind of stand out if you want to give him a little bit of a rub? Because you already know where Otis is going. Okay, Otis is Bushwhackers 2020. Tucker, you can actually potentially get something out of Tucker, even if it's just a dickhead fucking heel that could essentially elevate guys like the Hurt Business. You gotta do something with these people that you want to make main event. If you don't build the Hurt Business to that main event status, then guess what? They become the guys jobbing out to the other guys.
I agree with you on that 100%, but I really feel
it costs you a lot more money than bringing up NXT guys and putting them under masks.
No, and I get that. It's just I still feel like Retribution is weak sauce, and it's by choice. It's by design at this point. Unmask them. I'm just saying, if the product's for the kids don't give a shit if they have masks.
Why?
Why? Because you can build with the face, even if they're a low to mid card tier or even below that. I'm just saying, maybe it's the leader. No offense.
Listen, I will say this, that Michael's logic on this one is right on, because if you keep him under the mask, you can bury him all you want, because to Impact's point, he had no clue it was Dominic Dijakovic.
Exactly.
It's true.
But now here's the point where I think you, Simon Street, are conflicted, is because they made them such a big fucking deal to begin with. They created this angle as if they were so huge. Now they are just reduced to being hoes every week. So, you know what? I've already taken, I never liked the angle to begin with. I kind of was like, oh, this is cool when Ali, joined the group, but it's a wash now. And, I'm living with it. I'm fine.
With you on that one, man. It's boring.
Well, let me ask y'all this: what anything else that happened on Raw, SmackDown outside of Retribution that you think deserves a mention?
Baby, get that fucking angle out of here! It's about time.
Which one?
Put some respect on that man's name.
Which one? What'd you say, Mikey? I mean, not Michael's. King Lucky.
Fucking Shorty G.
Yeah.
Shorty G. It's time. Vince had this whole concept that he had for this guy, came out with fucking basketball shorts, all kind of bullshit gimmicks. And now, hopefully, they can do right by him. Somebody mentioned him going back to NXT.
Yeah.
It might have been you, Steve.
Yeah.
But, dude, give this guy the proper run that he deserves. He can go. I mean, granted, he can't talk on the mic, right?
What
the fuck ever.
There you go.
Yeah, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at this point. Dude can't talk on the mic. But give him the proper run. Let him be who he was, and let's just get over it. But I'm happy to see that that's done and over with.
Move him to fucking NXT. Put him with Tim Thatcher. Print money. Have a nice day.
Hold on. I have a better one. Have it be the sequel to Main Event that was on Netflix, NXT, and have Shorty G be the star of that film, because that's about the only way that I'm going to be sold on anything he does in the future. No offense towards him. And it's not his height. It's just they garbaged a good talent in him. And yeah, maybe going to NXT might help some of that. But man, you need to chill for like a good minute, then come back and be totally something opposite.
Listen,
because NXT fucked you.
6 months from now, y'all are going to be going, man, he was supposed to be so great on AEW. Seriously, man, he is. Once again, it's like y'all are fighting for every single fucking person to be a goddamn fucking superstar.
Not everybody.
I'm not fighting for him to be a superstar at
basketball
all.
Shorts.
No.
He's fucking already short. Call him Shorty G.
I'm only merely saying that
get it because it's short.
Such good shit.
I think we can all agree that every once, actually I'm lying. A lot of times Vince McMahon, and we'll just say because he's the representative of WWE, truly shits on a competitor or a personality to where it could follow them the rest of their career. This is one of them, in my opinion. I feel bad for the guy. I really fucking do. And I hope the best, maybe going to AEW and being something totally different. I don't know if that will work, but it can't be any worse than what he's gone through the last 5 years. Anywhere. He'd go to ROH. He'd go to Impact.
I was going to say, yeah, even if he would go to ROH, even New Japan. And
that might be better.
And I think that he would do extremely well.
Mm-hmm.
But think about it in these terms, man. The 3MB was fucking horrible.
I knew you were going to say that.
Fucking horrible.
You were. But look at him now.
Now, and most importantly, please do not feel sorry for Chad Gable, because his pocketbook does not feel sorry for you.
That is true. That is true. Very good point. I'll give you that. The only other thing I will say Monday night was great is I really did like the Elias concert. I am being honest when I say I liked the song. I thought it was going to be garbage at first, and it surprised me to the point to where I think that should be the new song for SmackDown.
Anyway, So just to circle back on the retribution thing, the only thing that I have an issue with as far as retribution is if you've got people wearing like hard plastic masks and shit like that, why as an opponent are you physically hitting the mask? Wouldn't you change your offense just a slight bit? Maybe do some body blows. It makes no sense when you got somebody in there with a fucking Jason mask from Wish, and the people are in there like trying to beat the shit out of this guy through a hard plastic mask. I can only imagine what it's going to be like for, spoiler alert, DJ, Dio Madden as Mace getting the shit punched out of him in his Predator mask.
I don't think you just spoiled anything for DJ because I don't think he knows who the fuck
He
DJ
has no idea. He has no idea. Bless his heart. Bless his heart, though.
But
All
Nonetheless,
I wish I could be that way. I honestly wish I could be that. I don't read dirt sheets a lot, but I allow myself to listen to the likes of King Lucky and other people who actually read dirt sheets because I do find it entertaining. But I do find it entertaining. I wish I could be innocent and go through a pay-per-view or any show and just totally be surprised. I wish I could.
All right. Anything else? SmackDown, want to mention anything? You're good?
Bianca Belair, dude, looks like $1 million. And she can go, she can get on the mic. That's I see within the next year her being a champion on a major brand.
Yeah. I'll give you that. All right.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to say anything else? SmackDown? Going once, going twice. So, okay. Bound for Glory was the next pay-per-view that took place this weekend. And I got to tell you, I was excited to watch it. What I didn't know, and, I always was under the assumption that Slammiversary was Impact Wrestling's WrestleMania. But apparently, Bound for Glory is their big show. So that was new for me. I was like, okay, that's good to know. So they, that's why they brought a lot of the bells and the whistles. For the pre-show, who got inducted into the Hall of Fame? Ken Shamrock. And of course, what made the noise, the news during that whole thing was some of the people who came to give him his props, to induct him. Bret the Hitman Hart was on video giving him a shout out. Mick Foley was also there giving him his props. And of course, The Rock is who inducted him. Awesome videos, just kind of watching it. It was interesting to see, of course, ex-WWE or WWE guys on Impact programming. But at the same time, I think seeing something like that is really cool. I hate the idea of always pretending like you can't say another company's name or another person's name, and like these other brands can't exist. I know why they do it, but it just never makes sense. So to see kind of them bring that together and to give Ken Shamrock his props was awesome. So that was during the pre-show leading up to that.
let me ask you guys this on that.
Sure.
So, did Ken Shamrock deserve to be in the TNA Hall of Fame for his spectacular career in TNA?
No.
But it probably comes down to, and you guys will know the answer to that because I haven't watched TNA and Impact that long to even know.
Nope.
But my guess is they probably running out of people who to give, these awards to, and maybe end of a big name, and probably thought, hey, that was the time to give it to Ken.
You said the word big name.
Yeah.
It's not that they're running out of people or this or that. Basically, it's who can we approach that would probably say yes. And in this case, you were able to get, because Ken has a lot of respect, you get the WWE guys to come on your program, even by video, and it gets a buzz.
Yeah.
So that's what their Hall of Fame is.
Sure.
But I will be honest, it does beg the question that maybe they should kind of restructure their Hall of Fame a little bit to a certain degree, because the only reason why I said no for Ken Shamrock is when you look at the list is Jeff Jarrett, Kurt Angle, Sting, Team 3D, Gail Ken, Abyss. Those are just to name some people.
There's only one person on that list that I say legitimately belongs to that Hall of Fame.
Yep.
Which one would you say? Because Jeff Jarrett was a huge part of TNA history. Kurt Angle, for the most part, came in because I remember the day when Kurt Angle premiered. You know, I mean, these are people that actually worked within TNA enough. Now, if you had to say the right when they were inducted to the Hall of Fame, maybe along the same lines what we're saying with Ken Shamrock. But I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, Ken Shamrock, how long has he been a part of Impact, like active roster? And I'm not taking nothing away from him. He is amazing.
Hardly at all.
September was when he joined. So
yeah, that's all I'm saying. My account on is based on time served.
No, he was the first TNA champion. That's why they're doing it. That's it. His title reign was basically nothing. Abyss is the only person who belongs in that Hall of Fame.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Restructure it to really, and I think it's hard to say to restructure something you've already started, but I'm saying if you did allow to do that, explain more of what it means to be inducted in the Hall of Fame. Does that make sense? Like actually open that up.
Honestly, dude, their Hall of Fame doesn't make any sense, period. Why?
Well, it's true. They did do it a long time ago because WWE was doing their Hall of Fame, so they needed I remember that.
Let me ask this then. Does Ken Shamrock go into WWE's Hall of Fame?
I think he should. I will honestly think he should. I think that if you think of, especially with the huge amount of success that we've had people from MMA come in successfully to WWE, Ken Shamrock was the first prototype or the first person to really actually kind of do it that I can think of. I could be wrong. And for that alone, I'm gonna be honest with you, it said it can't be done, you know? And from that standpoint, he pioneered that.
So considering who else is in the WWE Hall of Fame, like Coco Beware and on that level, Ken Shamrock absolutely is a Hall of Famer.
Does this now push him back since he just went into Impact or TNA?
No, I don't think so. No. If anything, I think him, even if he wasn't in the Hall of Fame, the work that he did do in Impact from the episodes I was able to watch, I think he looked pretty good for his age. I'm going to say I think it resurfaced his name a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point we see him show up in WWE for a short stint of time, whatever capacity that may be. But I do think he is deserving to be in the WWE. Well, I said in what capacity? I don't want any more oldies coming in getting beat up and battered.
Listen, I think they honor him, but I think him getting into this Hall of Fame pushed back, any consideration for WWE's Hall of Fame for a few years. So,
not necessarily. Not necessarily.
He's right on schedule. I would say. I put it like this: Ken Shamrock in the next 5 years for sure.
It all depends on what WWE is going to be doing for their Hall of Fame. I mean, with the pandemic, they didn't even have one this past year, so they got that whole class to induct this. So,
all right. Well, moving on Bound for Glory.
Well, thank you, host King Lucky. We got we have the X Divisional title is how they started off the show. 6-person scramble. That was with TJP, Chris Bay, Trey Miguel, Jordan Grayson, Willie Mack, and Rohit Raju, of course. And, they built the story up really well because since Rohit has been champion, he's been doing everything to avoid giving up that belt. Someone beats him, it's like, hey, you didn't beat this person who I beat last time. Go after them. And then after they beat that person, and he says, well, hey, that person deserved one, but maybe if you go after them, dodging and just ducking everything he possibly could. So even in this particular match, started off again, just excellent. Right? When the bell rings, they go after Rahid, of course. He jumps out of the ring. When he decides to get back in the ring, they start to attack him. He's still ducking. He's still ducking and missing and diving, and they're still missing him. And he's hiding in the back. He is doing everything he can to still not take a loss. And he seems to only pop up when it looks like that there's about to be a chance of someone getting pinned. Well, all of that worked, guys, and Rohit Raju is still the X Divisional champ, and he's doing a really good job with doing that since he's been in this role. Shout out to him also. I heard was on Sports Illustrated as well. I don't pick the cover, but just being inside as well. So he's definitely moving up friend of the show. We interviewed him, but Raheed is just a really cool guy. Just seeing where he's at right now is awesome. And he looks great as well. But the storyline with him is just awesome because he's just doing everything to duck and dive, and he still comes out on top. We'll go over next to the Call Your Shot Gauntlet match, where, hey, the title, you can go after any title you want. So there was a lot of people in this match. It was kind of like a Royal Rumble type of setup. Every 1 minute, somebody comes to the ring. But the biggest stipulation to that was if Heath or Rhino, if for some reason either one of them do not win, okay, Heath never gets the contract, and Rhino pretty much puts his job on the line, so he loses his contract. So, of course, that was the big storyline out of everybody that was in there. But there was a couple of surprises, guys. Sean Daivari, how about him? You know, Daivari, yeah, that guy showed up to wrestle. How about Swoggle? Anybody remember Swoggle?
Yeah.
Yeah, Swoggle popped up. And, of course, the big name of them all, Cowboys James Storm.
All right. How about your damn luck?
Yeah, so he showed up as well. And again, overall, it was a good match. What was pretty funny is, as you guys know, they have this big wedding that's coming up for Bravo. And I told you last week that Fallah Bahh ran off with Hernandez cash, okay? And he still has that cash, by the way. And a few people believe he has it, but he hasn't fully showed it. He always walking around with his hand on his chest because this wad of cash is just kind of, sitting under his shirt, in his chest area. So when he wrestles, he always wrestles with one hand on the wad of cash so he don't drop out. Well, hey, Hernandez is now, of course, kind of figured this whole situation out. And of course, throws him out of this ring for the gauntlet match. And, as far as Fallah Bahh's concerned, he don't care because guess what? He still got that big wad of cash. So he just took it and ran. And Hernandez, who apparently could have had an opportunity of winning this shot of any title in Impact Wrestling, just decided to just go over the ropes and walk out so he could just go get his money. So Hernandez had other things on his mind. He wasn't thinking about trying to win that particular belt. It came down to 4 people in the ring, guys. Sami Callihan, Rhino, Heath, and James Storm. Who got thrown out of that 4? Of course, Heath. Heath got thrown out. So what about this guy now? Say it again.
He got injured legitimately.
Oh, that's true. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, he got, and then it came down to Sami and Rhino. And now this match, which is like a rumble, you have to get tossed over, now actually becomes a one-on-one match where you have to become pinned. So now you have that match going, and of course, Rhino takes the win for that. So I thought that was pretty, it's pretty cool to have that as a storyline where he gets to keep his job. But what I thought was most interesting is, well, what belt is he going to go after? That anybody, let's say, cares enough to see. It's Rhino. I don't against Rhino. Rhino looks good and everything, but I'm like,
We'll go after the TNA championship.
Which, speaking of TNA, they had the cinematic match between Moose and EC3 as some undisclosed
or what I like to call Impact Underground.
That sounds a lot better.
That's what it looked like.
Yeah, pretty much.
No strippers?
They didn't have none of that.
There was a
no dice games either.
Yeah, there was a couple of people surrounding the ring. They had masks on. They all was wearing EC3 sweat jackets, and they were all just kind of beat on the ring as they wrestled. So, that right there was interesting. But I guess I finally figured out this whole control your narrative thing, because I've been kind of confused at what the overall storyline is about. And I guess the whole idea was the TNA title, which is funny because Moose used to always claim that, the most prestigious title, in the business and all that. Well, EC3 kind of played that whole idea of, look, if you're going to roll with this belt, you got to be what TNA is about. You got to be about that, you know, that dirty, going hardcore, that grit, going all in, not this, you know, someone handed me a title type, you know, because now that makes the TNA belt useless. It's not anything. This belt is something. And you, Moose, can be what TNA is about. You need to find that narrative within you. And I guess with that whole storyline, EC3 got his ass whooped by Moose because Moose, I guess, eventually figured that out, and he ripped EC3 a new one. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. I mean, for someone who comes in, and I guess it is kind of different, right? Because everyone that when you have someone new come from a different company, they always throw the title, no matter what company it is. They push them all the way to the top. They win everything. It's like whatever. Well, EC3 didn't come in this way. He came in, you know, hasn't had many matches, but he, you know, the few times he's had to wrestle, he's gotten his ass beat, you know. So pretty interesting how they come out with that storyline. But EC3 did win that. He got his title back. Let's see what that title is going to do for him going forward. There was
what? What?
Oh.
Fall asleep on any news.
Yeah, I know. Not much here. There was the Eddie Edwards match against the Hall of Famer of Ken Shamrock, and Ken Shamrock won that. So nothing big there. 4-way tag team title. The North, Ace Austin, Madman Fulton, the Good Brothers, and Motor City Machine Guns were all battling. And man, look who won. They got the belts back. The North.
Yeah.
Man, I was shocked. You know, I thought maybe Motor City was going to continue to have those belts. Maybe even the Good Brothers, because again, that's what they do. They throw the belts on to the guys that come. But the North, who just lost it a few months ago, got it back. Yeah. So, you know, shout out to them for pulling that out. Knockouts Championship. Mm-hmm. It was supposed to be Deonna Purrazzo versus Kylie Rae. Interestingly, you know, Kylie Rae's music play and she doesn't come out. So
you already got possessed by Sue Young, buddy.
We call that a no call, no show, I guess. So it became an open challenge. Deonna said anybody wants to come out. And of course, it wasn't Susie that came out. It was Sue Young. Who came out. And it was a really good match between the two. And you know, overall, Sue Young ended up being your new knockout women's champion. So
I could panic switch.
Yeah. You know, all in all, I would tell you with their match and Sasha and Bailey match, the women's, man, the championship division is on a whole nother level. If we can only get our other AEW to that level, and it's not even, I'm not even throwing, I'm just saying.
Hey, bro. Hey, the only thing that I can say about the women's division in AEW is wish in one hand and shit in the other. See which one fills up first.
Right.
If I can't say this, Steve, with regards to AEW women's, if only they could get a facelift like Kenny Omega's music.
Right. We'll get to it.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Sometime in the next hour.
They're gonna bring back the knockout tag team titles. Awesome. So how about that? They're gonna bring that back next pay-per-view, which
they have enough women. I think it's perfect.
Absolutely. Next pay-per-view, Hard to Kill. So we'll get a chance to see them.
Wait. Mm-hmm. Let's just reevaluate that idea, because the WWE, who has more than enough women, has a fucking hard time doing anything with those tag titles. So why?
It's going to be a challenge, because I just quickly looked up, because I only am somewhat familiar with all of the knockouts. You got Alicia Edwards, Deonna Purrazzo, Jessica Havoc, Jordan Grace, Kiera Hogan, Kimberly, Kaylee Ray, Madison Rayne. I mean, well, if we can mention Madison Rayne. That's just to name a few. And I have a couple more that I saw. I mean, they could do something, but they only have one show. So that's my big question of how that works, because WWE, if we're looking at them as an example, they flow over. Go ahead.
Yeah, they have 3 shows.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. And if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, that's what's kind of helped when they do want to actively take advantage of those 3 shows to showcase their women's titles. I wonder what Impact's going to do.
Well, to end the pay-per-view was the Impact World title with Eric Young and Rich Swann. I would tell you this, Rich looked really good. The few times we've seen Rich, as of course he's would have this whole leg injury and all, which has kept him off the show. Of course, going with the storyline, but of course he always has on his shirts and different things. So you never really see just how ripped or that he is. And apparently he added an extra 25 pounds of upper muscle. And, that's shown, and it looked, he looked really good in the ring coming out to go up against Eric Young. He also cut his beard and mustache off, had a little bit of a young look there. Overall, the match was really good between both of them. Yeah, absolutely. The winner of that in your new Impact World Champion is now Rich Swann, no longer Eric Young, and I was pretty shocked at that. I thought Eric was maybe going to hang on that at least one more pay-per-view, but Rich got it back, and overall, I would tell you that Bountiful Glory for what it was a really good event. I'm curious to see where they're going to go with a lot of storylines. The match was called not only by Josh Matthews, but the return of Don Callis as well. So it was good to hear him back at the commentator table.
Would you say it was worth the price you paid?
I would say it wasn't.
How much did you pay?
I won't disclose that.
$3.99.
But I tell you one thing: if you try to watch the replay, you'll know what the price is because it's the same. All right. With that,
that was a good one.
With that, we'll jump right over into AEW, and let's jump into it. What do you think about that show, Sin City, Steve?
Come on.
So here's the thing: is this show focused largely on the tournament, and what I'm going to do is I'm not going to recap every single fucking match on the show, but it definitely looks like how we all pegged it right from the beginning, that this tournament is going to come down to Omega versus Paige in the finals. All the right people won. You had Janela, which was supposed to be Janela, ended up being Sunny Kiss. Getting TV time. That's about as optimistic as we can be. Just super squash. And then a little bit of botchiness, I thought, from Penta and Phoenix in their match. Yeah, to say the least. So not exactly the sharpest match there. But honestly, this show for me was all about one thing. Le Dinner Debonair.
Yes, it was.
Which was probably one of the fucking most surreal things that I've seen on a professional wrestling show in years.
Awesome.
Did it make you feel like Saturday Night Live a little bit?
It did.
Okay, because that's how I felt.
Without a doubt, man. It was top notch. You had MJF, who I had no idea that MJF was an actual legitimate singer. But he is. He's got a great voice, and we all know how skilled Jericho is. And let's call it what it is. I think that we made the joke on this show last week about someone busting into Guys and Dolls, and then you have these guys bust into a full-on musical theater routine, complete with a kick line. It was fucking fun, escapist entertainment. That's the best way of describing it.
Since Steve, can I ask you this question?
Yeah,
what's that?
Do it, son.
Hey, would you say if there was ever anybody that could not so much top Chris Jericho or be the next coming of Chris Jericho, is it definitely MJF?
Without question.
I'm just saying, like, I was proud.
Without question. And I'm gonna be 100% transparent on this as well. If this vignette would have taken place on a WWE created show, I completely would have shit canned it. And there's a very simple reason behind that. Because with AEW, they are emphasizing what their talent roster can do positively, and they are starting to finally attempt to hide the negatives. Okay. With WWE, you probably would have had AJ Styles singing along with fucking Lars Sullivan or some shit.
Gosh, that's horrendous. That pairing's horrendous.
Time out. So you said AEW is finally
starting to make traction on that.
So basically what you're saying is they should stick to doing musical numbers instead of actually wrestling.
No, that's not what he said.
Because both of those guys can do either. Yeah. But the thing is, they know what talent sets that their roster has, and they're finally starting to embrace that stuff.
I'm seeing much of the same. I agree with you, Sin City. Yeah. See much of the same.
So, do you guys remember Spider-Man 3?
Yeah.
With Tobey Maguire?
Yeah.
I think I blocked that out from my memory.
Well, one of the reasons that people blocked it out from their memory is because he did a song and dance number in it.
Yeah.
And people just shit canned the fuck out of it.
I didn't shit can it. I thought it was brilliant, but then again, I'm weird.
I'm just saying in general. Mm-hmm. And what's really funny is that the base of AEW fans, and I'm glad, Steve, you said that because you do make a justified point, but I'd say that a lot of the fans would basically shit can it if it was a WWE thing, but think it's great this way. But at the same time, you're kind of seeing a mixed review. So, I'm with you on the playing to the strengths. And MJF absolutely would be able to be a Broadway type actor and singer if he didn't love wrestling. I think Jericho is a good enough singer. Sometimes he gets a little pitchy, but he's a rock and roll singer, not a show tune singer. I never thought that we would be sitting here breaking down a song and dance number. Just period.
Which I'm shocked because that would be more up your alley, Matt Michaels.
No. I'm just saying in terms of on a wrestling show. I mean, you don't see this song and dance number. What is, I think, equally as interesting was the fact that the Elias concert was just as, like you said, playing to strengths. He's like the only person that you could actually say, okay, we know that they took something with him and played to his strength of doing that with the song and dance number. But usually you'd see, some of these guys like Road Dogg who can sing, but, let's face it, it just never went anywhere. And Jeff Jarrett, like, for God's sakes.
With my baby tonight.
Yeah. So it's cool to see this little different thing. Let's just see how I still say in the end, you got to turn MJF full heel in terms of have Jericho go face.
Yeah.
And you'll open up a new way to have Jericho go against some of the heels that you want to start getting, established.
I think they somewhat planted the seeds for that just in some of the dialogue that was used at the table. And I think that was really smart of them to do. One thing that I have to point out, we mentioned and we talked about ratings earlier. I hope that Tony Khan and everybody within AEW that they don't look too poorly at this. But believe it or not, Matt Michaels, the segment that we've spent so much time talking about in the last couple of minutes actually was the lowest rated segment on all of Dynamite this past week. Which
that's the Steve. You're absolutely, and I know where your mindset is that you're right. They're playing to the strengths. Yet, like I was saying, the AEW crowd.
Yep.
Ouch. I think you're absolutely right. And if they get scared off by that, that would be a damn shame.
Yeah. And now, mind you, just to give some context, it wasn't like as if this match was going up against like the tag title match or anything like that. No, it was going against Xia Li and Casey Catanzaro on NXT. And it still did the smallest number. Now, mind you, it was still larger than anything on the other show. But come on, man. Don't, shit.
I wasn't even going to mention that one in the NXT show. To be honest, it wasn't much to it.
So, but yeah, more escapism. Not so much that it, takes over the entire show, but don't be afraid to do it, because I know that people within AEW watch the show and we appreciate you. But yeah, don't let the escapism and the comedy and stuff take over your product, but don't be afraid to do it, especially when you have performers that can do it well, as was shown this past Wednesday.
Anyone else want to add to AEW?
That was so strong that you don't even need to add anything else.
All right, over to NXT. What you got?
NXT was NXT. It was good. The one big story basically that led up to the end of the night is obviously NXT members were taken out one by one. And eventually, that resulted in, William Regal having, sorry, something in my throat. A new tag team come in basically to go ahead and compete, and it was quite interesting. I mean, toward the end of the night, pretty much, you had Thatcher and something in my throat, guys. Damn. Sorry.
The one time I could actually use the mute button.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, listen, NXT.
No, sorry. It really was in my throat. All right, I'm back on. I'm sorry. So anyways, what I was saying was Timothy Thatcher and, I'm not Timothy Thatcher. I'm sorry. One second, guys.
Lorcan and Birch.
No, I'm sorry. Like, I got something in my throat. Give me a second. You guys go ahead. Take it over, Lucky. Seriously.
You mute when you're back, buddy. Go ahead, Lucky.
Overall, I mean, I think the Bronson, what he was saying is that people were getting taken out, and it was all leading up to the Lorne Orkin and Daniel Burchell, reveal at the end. They actually won the tag team titles, and it was because of old Primetime Pat coming back. And I thought that was a pretty good angle that they ran, and it made a lot of sense. Elsewhere on the show, I thought Reed and Theory was pretty good. Then you had Theory at the end of it saying, "I quit," packed up his bags and rolled out.
So what do you think's gonna? Are we just gonna see a flip and Theory's gonna take Chad Gable's spot in case?
He has to come back as something different, something meaner, something nastier. Because dude's got all the talent and the look, and nobody quits on TV. Let's be real.
Well, it was another way to get cars involved.
Of course.
Because he quit and then he leaves in the car. You can't do a show nowadays without a car. As always, it's solid, but god damn, that first match with Ciampa and
Dream
and Michael J. Fox.
Michael J. Fox. Kushida.
Damn, I mean that's once again, it's like I know what the big reveal was at the end in terms of why you have the championship and the reveal and everything at that point, but that match just like you were talking about the pay-per-view starting off with Reigns and Uso. I don't know, man. That match just kind of just tore down the fucking house. It was hard to look at the rest of the show without going, boy, man, I just want to see them go for fucking 60 minutes.
Max.
Now, did you guys, while I was coughing a lung up, did you guys talk about Legado del Fantasma versus Isaiah Swerve? Did you talk? I didn't know if you did or not.
No, we did.
Okay.
That's
That was a really good match as well. Speaking of how they started off NXT, that match was amazing, especially the one that shined out all that was Jake Atlas. Obviously he's been doing good these last couple weeks, but that one move that I saw to where it was off the, I think it was it Jake Atlas off the top rope? No, Jake Atlas was on the ropes, and one of the team members of Legado del Fantasma went off to, I guess, dive off the top, and he ended up turning it into a Spanish fly. That was amazing. There was also another one that just before they went to picture in picture, Swerve did a crazy aerial move out on the outside. But they've been on hit. But I felt like as far as Legado del Fantasma, that group has been doing great. But finally finding that right sauce with Swerve, Atlas, and Adonis, it was pretty good. I'd like to actually see it again. So
let's face it too. Garganos, Jesus Christ, they're gold.
Mhm.
Yeah, they hate spinning that wheel. They just want him dead. Why do they want me dead?
Can I point out and give props to NXT for the continuity in the Pat McAfee reveal? So everybody always knows that I love to give WWE shit when they do not display proper continuity. But Pat McAfee was absolutely the perfect person for them to reveal, to be with Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. Yeah. Biggest reason, neither of those guys are amazing on the mic, but they are extremely solid in the ring. So you put a great mouthpiece with them, somebody that's not as overly experienced in the ring, and they can help each other. The other thing that is amazing, and I don't know if this was planned, but this is another tie-in as to why McAfee was the perfect choice for who to replace Ridge Holland. Mm-hmm. Because I would almost put money that Ridge Holland would have been the person that they shown and did the reveal with and things of that nature. Couple of reasons. Ridge Holland said that he was paid to take out Adam Cole. Right. Okay. Pat McAfee, as we all know, former NFL punter, signs an extremely lucrative deal with SiriusXM for his show. And so he has the money to, in theory, have been the one to pay off Ridge Holland. Also, you've got you've got a great three-way or a great six-man possibility now as things develop. So it could not have come together any more perfectly than for them to reveal Pat McAfee. So top-notch, amazing call to everybody involved with that.
It really did work out for the best. I mean, even though, accidents happen. The one thing I wonder, though, do you think that McAfee is going to be more in a kind of like in the same situation that MVP is? Like he'll actually do matches and whatnot, but still kind of operates as a managerial role.
Of course.
Have you noticed?
I honestly think that this is setting up like a War Games match.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and you get UE in there against this new trio, and blow the doors off. Everything's awesome.
Let me ask you this a quick side question. I know we can't talk about it too much. Have you seen a trend, at least in WWE, where you have managers that actually can hold their own in the ring, like pretty legitimately? Do you see something like that kind of being a mainstay maybe across the board?
I think that, if they do something like that too much, that we'll call it out for being bullshit. I don't like saturating the product with multiple instances of the same thing. But I mean, this pairing, I'm completely good with it.
Yeah, I wasn't mad at it. I was cool with the reveal. I thought that metal mask that he wore was pretty cool, actually, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I wasn't mad at all. I was actually happy. Look forward to next week.
All right. Anything else from NXT?
Yeah. Ready for Halloween Havoc. That's it.
That's right. That'll be coming up this Wednesday as well. All right. Quick thing I want to ask you, Sin City, and you guys who may be familiar with New Japan, maybe could jump on this. Just a quick discussion, and that is, I noticed that after, of course, the G1, now we're preparing for Power Struggle.
Yep.
With New Japan, so apparently they don't do wrestling shows on a weekly basis in terms of like a Raw or AEW Dynamite or whatever. It just, everything leads up to another sort of event. Is that kind of how it is, Sin City? Like,
sorry,
okay.
brother.
Yeah.
So
help me explain. Yeah.
So the thing is, obviously you can watch the shows on Access if you get access. So that would definitely help out. They do have their weekly show on Access, I believe, still. But yeah, it's just like every other wrestling company. I mean, their next pay-per-view is Power Struggle. And they do things the traditional way. They have the feuds blow off at pay-per-views and use the weekly shows to build to those pay-per-views. So
gotcha.
I think that, I mean, speaking of Power Struggle, you've got Naito against Evil at the top of the card for the IWGP Heavyweight and Intercontinental Double Championship. And then you've got Kota Ibushi putting his G1 Climax right to challenge contract is what they call it, which allows him to challenge the champion at Wrestle Kingdom. He's going to be putting that championship opportunity on the line against Jay White. So, and
I saw they just announced they're going to do another 2-night. Is it Wrestle Kingdom in January?
Yeah. January 4th and 5th.
Gotcha. Yeah, exciting times back at the Tokyo Dome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bucket list for sure.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yes, that's definitely something to work up to. Well, we'll just keep our eye on Power Struggle and see how that all turns out, and we'll have a little bit more information with that in the future. With that is our wrestling talk. We want to thank everybody for hanging out with us and putting in your comments. And if you listen to the podcast, we thank you as well for listening. And with that, I think we're just going to call that a night. We want to wish everybody a happy Halloween. For those who want to be doing any type of trick or treating, maybe you want to leave out your front door and then go through your garage. That's about as much of trick or treating that's going to be happening this year. All right. So with that, that is it. Peace.
Okay, but on to the next. Jesus Christ. My computer's at 47%. We gotta plow through this motherfucker.
Okay.
And we still live here for all of you watching. Steve will now do a dance and song.
No. Thanks, though.
Oh, come on. I know you have a beautiful singing.
I don't have anything prepared.
A minute and a half. And then we'll go right into our 3 count.
I think it's weird because Matt Michaels probably has more experience in theater than probably most of us.
Oh, God, yeah. Absolutely.
I've only been in 2 musicals my whole life. One of them I was a dancer, and it was Annie.
I've been in a couple.
Why are you laughing, King Lucky?
I don't even want to know. Was it the Hard Knock Life?
No, it was actually it was Annie, and I was a dancer. I was like, it was actually Annie.
You gotta remember, Little Orphan Annie deals with a bunch of girl orphans, and I think Lucky's mind.
Oh, he thought I was an actual orphan. I see. No. I was a butler for Daddy Warbucks. And I was a butler. So I had one scene pretty much where I was doing a dance with the top hat All that. Yes. I ain't ashamed of it. I had a lot of fun with it. Because I usually like theatric theater in high school and a little bit in college, but I never really extended to try to do like an actual Broadway play because I can't sing. At least not like that.
He had his own spin-off.
I think there's videotape of it too, to be honest with you. If I ever find it, I'll show it to you guys. I ain't got no shame. I love doing theater. I wish I had time to do it again.
Between you and Michaels, we got enough material to put up on Throwback Thursday.
I think we'd be a good, we would do good. I would have to trust Michaels to write most of it though, if he had time to do it.
He's talking about throwing up stuff that's already out there. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, probably.
You guys ready?
Yeah,
Yep.
let's do it.
Hey, Nate. Woo!
All right. Welcome to another edition of Vegas Bad Boys of Podcasting. I'm your host, DJ Impact. We welcome everybody for being here. We got all of the Vegas Bad Boys here, which I'm excited to see you guys. This is our 3 count. And if you're watching us, feel free to add in your comments and we'll try to throw it in there as we see. If you're listening to the podcast, just sit back and enjoy. Our first count tonight comes from the Baltimore, throw it out of the way, Sun, and it's titled Grappling with COVID-19, Ring of Honor creates professional wrestling bubble in Baltimore suburbs. And then we're also going to link that to another article from WrestlingEdge.com that says Ring of Honor and New Japan Pro Wrestling to work together again. Overall, fellas, the article is really just going over how Ring of Honor has been dealing with COVID. As you know, they shut everything down, pretty much allow their workers to take the time off. They still paid their workers, which was really great. And they've really been taking this COVID really serious. But now, of course, looking at what the NBA has done with the bubble, they see an opportunity now where they can have their own sort of bubble that's going to take place out in Baltimore. And now they're looking to get started there. The question I just wanted to ask after reading, there's some more information there, but that's the bottom line is, first off, how commendable would you guys say it was for ROH to take COVID as serious as they did when you compare it to other wrestling organizations? At the same time, though, how much of a risk do you think that they took, being that they haven't now been able to compete in the rest of what's been happening in the last few months? A lot of their wrestlers, which of course, you know, they have a lot of titles, a lot of wrestlers with big names over there as well, that haven't been getting that TV time and really haven't been doing too much at all. And sometimes you kind of get lost in the fray when you have so much going on, especially now having AEW where they at, which they wasn't, it was here a year from this point, but but earlier from there, that wasn't around. So it wasn't too much of an issue. You only have maybe 2 companies you can look at, but AEW played a major role. Just out of curiosity, it's great what they did, but how much of a risk was that?
Yeah.
Let's start King Lucky.
There's definitely a huge risk that they took. I mean, you look at it and they weren't as established as some of these other TV programs were to take the time off, but they should be praised for creating this bubble, making sure that everybody's safe. And it should be pointed out that, how important they value the talent and its production staff by spending the money to conduct these tests and multiple tests as it was outlined.
Right.
So now it gives, their talent, in the article, it talked about how, Jay Lethal was working on different things and layers from, his persona and finding ways to stay busy.
Right.
But yeah, absolutely. They should be commended for, for taking that approach. It still remains to be seen. And we talked about this a while ago, if they are able to survive through this quarantine, as a viable company.
Yeah. Yeah. The article also it speaks of that over a Zoom call, the wrestlers felt increasingly confident that a bubble could work. Now, they would be asked to take a COVID-19 test 14 days before traveling to Baltimore, and then another the day after checking into the DoubleTree. This seemed like this could be a really good thing after what we've seen with the NBA. Let me run over to you, Simon Street, and you let me know, what is your take? Do you think this bubble is going to be a really good thing for Ring of Honor? And, do you think they just took a risk, a major risk, just from not doing anything these past few months?
I mean, it's without no doubt that they did take a risk, obviously. But it was a risk that as a company they're willing to take, and it was for the betterment and the safety of everybody involved. So kudos to them. That's a tough call to make. With regards to this bubble that they're trying to make right now, there's a lot of complexities to that than what meets the eye. Obviously, the article in which it was said that they're under the council of the Maryland, I guess, what did they say? I want to make sure, athletic commissions on how they're going to do the restart. And some of it is the reality of they're going to be in this DoubleTree. They have to stay in their room. The 14-day mandatory thing, that's to stay in your room. That ain't you get to go out and eat dinner or nothing like that. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, fellas, the NBA had to go through similar as well for their bubble. So that's a huge reality for a lot of these competitors, and seeing how that plays out in the next couple of weeks is going to be key.
Yeah, and in the NBA, of course, there at some point it ends because you're going to have a champion, but in wrestling, it's just continues. So I guess until a vaccine comes out and everyone decides to take that, I guess then they can come out of their bubble. They could be there for a minute. Sin City Steve, with a working relationship with New Japan, be something that could be their saving grace for them when they get back up and going.
Without a doubt, man. I think that to echo a point that was said earlier, they should definitely be commended for how they treated their talent through the entire thing.
Yeah.
But I think that if they get that working relationship back up and running with New Japan, I think that it's going to do nothing but help them. They, as far as I'm concerned, gained a lot of traction by having the New Japan stars brought in and working, Ring of Honor shows. I can't tell you how many times that I ran into people, New Japan roster members during the day before the show or after the shows when they were running stuff at Sam's Town and the Orleans and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it was a really cool thing to experience. But the thing that we have to keep in mind is the New Japan Pro Wrestling roster that they're talking about might not necessarily be the full-on New Japan Pro Wrestling roster. More than likely, we're talking about the students at the dojo in LA. We're dealing with New Japan America.
Gotcha.
Now, that's not to besmirch them or say anything negatively about them whatsoever. Sure. I would just want to set the proper expectation with this.
Right.
I think that down the road, once everything does get finalized and, we're in a much better place than we are globally as compared to where we are right now, then yes, I think that the door is wide open for them to get the Tanahashis and the Okadas and, all these guys back over here to the States. But just keep in mind that it's probably going to be the dojo guys. Sure. And, as long as those expectations are met properly, I think regardless, talent exchanges and excursions, I think do nothing but help the companies involved seemingly. It was just this past week that, or maybe a couple of weeks ago, that EC3 from Impact showed up on ROH. So I think that that's something that, can do nothing but help those companies that aren't at WWE or at AEW in the current landscape.
Sure. Matt Michaels, would you now seeing what has happened from the time of the beginning of COVID up to where we're at now, do you agree with what ROH has done up to this point, or would you have maybe figured out a way to get them going a lot sooner?
They couldn't have. It's as simple as that. They couldn't have. The key here is them paying the talent. So by them doing that, it just evened out everything because they have to do Baltimore because they have their training center there.
Mhm.
It's the easiest way to do it.
Yeah.
Outside of that, what you wouldn't have been able to do it. See, that's the difference. The difference is that AEW and WWE had places to tape, whereas Impact the same thing.
Mhm.
Ring of Honor, they you know they relied on these venues to be able to travel to, and when you don't have venues opened up, fuck, Sam's Town here is still like there's no plan for them to reopen still. So that's the thing. They were up against the gun on that. It's a smart move, and the the other thing is that they're a syndicated show, and they're not competing on a they're not like Impact that has access, which is their network.
Yeah.
They're not like AEW, they're not like WWE. So therefore, if you would have been risking your talent's health for a show that airs on your channel 52 at 1 a.m., like what are you doing, man? You're just you're messing with people's actual lives, not their livelihoods.
Yeah.
So they did the right thing. And the fact of the matter is that the bubble should work in theory. And if they have to, you tape, 2 months of shows or whatever, amount, so that you can allow them to leave the bubble, go back home, do things that they have to do with their family and whatnot, and then come back in 3 weeks or 6 weeks to then tape a new round of taping. And they're also not a company that does pay-per-views on a constant basis.
Right.
So that's the other thing. They don't have to worry about losing, a bunch of pay-per-view revenue because they only do X amount anyway.
Yeah.
So they can get away with it. So it's a good situation, and luckily they, were able to deal with it, through the means necessary to keep them active. The main goal with them is to continue to just garner an audience, get people to watch them. That's the hardest thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And can't wait to see them get back up and going. A lot of good talent over there. Let's go over to our second count from entrepreneur.com. It's titled Meet the Pro Wrestling Pair That's Building a Small Business Empire. Let me just read a little bit about this, okay? And the guys we are talking about, of course, are the Good Brothers. In the 5 months since parting ways with WWE, the duo made waves by joining the ranks of rival Impact Wrestling. And in addition to launching their popular Talk and Shop podcast with co-host and fellow wrestler Rocky Romero, they aired a successful satirical pay-per-view event called Talk and Shop A Mania, which is a sequel, is already confirmed for November 13th. They collaborated on Talk and Shop Beer with Kentucky-based craft brewer Jarfly, and a Talk and Shop Bourbon with Tennessee-based Leatherwood Distillery, and a line of red and white wines with Wine Savage. And finally, they're cooking up an animated series and a variety special titled Talk and Shop Full Keg that's airing on Access this TV at 10 p.m. All right, fellas, the Good Brothers are making lots of moves since they got that call. What should other wrestlers learn about the Good Brothers, if anything? I mean, it's got to be something. King Lucky.
I'll tell you what. We benefit now from an era where, a time where you have so many great platforms to market whatever you want to do. And if you're actually good at it, someone will pay you for it. And these guys, they've already had the fan base. you know, from WWE. They've been on the biggest stages there. They were in New Japan. These are respectable guys. So what they did was they pivot and they turned a negative situation, you know, into a positive. And during a time when most people would have just kicked back, probably counted their cash, they found a way to create more cash.
Right.
So they should definitely be commended. And I'll tell you what, I'll go a step even further, you know, as, you know, during this downtime, the last 7 months or whatever, I respect the hell out of a lot of people that didn't just take this downtime and say, hey, you know what, I'm just going to go do whatever. They actually picked up a skill, or they worked on their craft, if we're talking about specifically wrestling. So yes, a lot of people can take a page out of the Good Brothers book.
Simon Street, do you think them having this business for themselves, is Impact Wrestling going to look at them as them hurting their business by them supporting their own?
No, because they're not WWE, and they don't have the problems that WWE has as far as their contracted talent having outside deals. So as long as Impact is respecting what they're doing for themselves, I think it'll go great. I think it was great how the article kind of talked about the success that Steve Austin has had, you know, specifically, you know, obviously the space of his podcast, but also too, he's in the wine industry now, you know. So I mean, I think it is great. I'm a huge fan of anybody who's able to take what they've done so far and pivot, like King Lucky said, and make a name for themselves. There's a lot out there. We do live in an age to where there's always little things that somebody's interested in, and there's people with checks ready to write to help you bring that out to the world. So kudos to them. Super happy.
Sin City, why would WWE have an issue with this? I mean, they, you know, sure, they've would have had WWE that kind of helped them, you know, with their name exposure, but, you know, they went about coming up with something, creating something, becoming successful with it. Why would WWE, why would they look at that and be like, nah, you can't do that?
I think that they would look at that because they got over on their own. So you just look at the biggest example that comes to my mind right off the bat is Zack fucking Ryder. You have a guy who they didn't want him to get over. He started a YouTube series, got over on his own, and what happened? They seemingly punished him for explicitly that. Rusev, there's another one. Someone that they really hadn't planned on him getting over to the degree that he did. Yeah. And it blew up. It got massive. But that wasn't how they wanted him to be. They didn't have him slotted as the top merchandise seller or you know, that kind of thing. So that they punished him accordingly. It's really frustrating that that company operates seemingly on a mantra that nobody can get over without the aid of the office. And if you do, then you're going to be put behind the eight ball. Your days will be numbered at the end of it all. It's completely ridiculous. The thing that really stands out in my mind is the stark difference between Impact and WWE in this case. Just looking at this specific article, you know, you've got a lot of the Talkin' Shop branding right on the Impact Wrestling website. So they're they're helping their roster guys get over. Right. Even if, and I'm sure that it's a calculated risk that Impact is doing, but they realize that, hey, as long as these guys are here, they are on our roster and they're making money, maybe making even more money due to endorsement deals and things of that nature that are outside of the parameters of what we would be paying them, then they're going to be more likely to stay when negotiation time rolls back around. And it's just a win-win. I wish that other companies had that same exact kind of a viewpoint on things.
Sure. Matt Michaels, you were the one who actually sent this article to me. What stood out to you that said, man, yeah, this is definitely something we should mention on the 3 count?
Well, I think it's just it's something that you don't see very many. You don't see many people taking the steps like this in terms of doing something. The Of course, they're going to be successful in the sense that they already have a following. So anyone who, Stone Cold, yeah, of course he's going to be fucking successful. It's Stone Cold Steve Austin. He already has his brand.
Yeah.
These guys already had their brand established. So it made it easier. It makes it easier to do business with, people putting up money because you got a name. But the one thing is that, if you want to say, well, Zack Ryder, they were pissed at him for getting himself over. No, they weren't, because Zack Ryder could have been fired right fucking then. The same with Rusev. They could have got rid of these guys right away. Just fire them. Think about it, Steve. Come on, man. It's, you want to put the blame on the company for being the bad guys, but Zack Ryder actually got 7 years fucking extended out of it because they didn't release him at any point they fucking could have. That's how I look at it.
But I will say this too, with those 2 particular names that you did say, was it because WWE does have a nifty habit of, okay, someone's getting successful, let's garner some money from what they're doing and try to capitalize on that? Because I've seen WWE do it, and I think that they may have done that with Zack Ryder and with Rusev.
They definitely did with Rusev. They, as far as Zack Ryder, they had a couple of things that they put onto their shop to try to, to latch on to that fan base. I personally, I think that it was pretty plain to see in the treatment on camera. Now, yes, they still had a job. Yes, they were still on the roster, but in terms of them as characters getting over to their maximum potential,
but
I think
whole fascination with getting over to their maximum potential. Where is Zack Ryder right now, and how is his maximum potential being utilized?
Because he's been lowered. He's been absolutely lowered. So if you can't, Michaels, you can't tell me that if the Machine wouldn't have gotten behind him and actually, did more for the Zack Ryder character instead of stripping away, his YouTube channel and doing the things that they did to him, that he would, who knows, Zack Ryder could be a fucking Universal Champion right now. If they would have done it properly, and if they would have put the Machine behind him.
But you avoided my question. Where is Zack Ryder right now? And
right now, I gave you basically the exact answer. He's nowhere. He's nowhere because his stock has been lowered so badly because he was a glorified job guy.
Okay, so now you're basically saying that Rusev was a glorified job guy too, right?
There toward the end.
Towards the end.
Yes.
Okay.
Especially toward the end.
Sure, but you know what was happening towards the end? His contract was coming up. So of course you're going to do anything you can to fucking damage him going forward. Why would they look out for someone unless they're like ironclad in them? That's what I'm saying. Zack Ryder, why the fuck should I care about Zack Ryder, period? And it wasn't because they diminished him. I'll tell you right now, Zack Ryder doesn't do shit for me. Never has.
Woo, woo, woo.
Exactly. That's it, man. And by the way, Zack Ryder, the woo-woo shit, he gets that bump from the fact that Jersey Shore becomes popular at that time. So you can't just blame the big company, because then we could blame every, big company. You could just put it on them. But the fact of the matter is that at some point, you got to realize that not everyone is a fucking selling superstar, man.
Of
And
course not.
The good brothers realize that.
Right.
And so
Ultimately, my point with that, Michaels, is that if WWE would have gotten out of their way and let them just do everything as per normal, then obviously that's going to do nothing but help the character that's getting over. But in turn, it's going to draw more eyes to the product, which will in turn yield more merchandise sales.
And I again, I say the reason that WWE has been successful for 40 years, 50 years as a company overall, right? Almost 60 now, is because of the fact that, listen, Bruno Sammartino is your fucking champion. Why? Because he drew a certain group of people in New York, the Italians, who love that dude. And that was where the money was. You know that there are people during that time frame that you could have probably put, and pushed and whatnot, but they knew they fell into line in terms of the parameters. And my thing is that not everyone can be that superstar. And I think that everyone likes to look at themselves as the superstar, the main event, the draw, as they should in your confidence, but you should also realistically, business sense, be smart. What the Good Brothers did was they were smart. Listen, when Festus then becomes
Festus.
Let's face it, he reinvents himself with CM Punk. That run goes to Japan. Those guys get together there and are really establishing themselves in Japan. So they make the move because AJ's. So they took the money, they did what they needed to do. That gave them a little blanket. So now when your contract is up and you're realizing, okay, maybe we want to do other things. I think that's more so what this comes down to. These guys were smart. They want to do other things. Impact has nothing to lose at all. Shit, run on it, because the fact of the matter is that the WWE didn't need those extra eyes drawn to the product by the merchandise back, right?
They don't.
But Impact does. So it's a smart move to work hand in hand. And if they're smart, then you go where the company is going to allow you to do other things, because you know that you're going to make, for the rest of your career, unless you go back to WWE, you're going to make more money probably doing outside business.
And that's a very good point, because when we look at WWE just in general, let's be honest, we call it the machine because the machine does work when the people allow it to. The WWE knows how to take an individual, wrap it up, force feed it, put some bells and whistles on it, and we buy into it. And I can understand for somebody that wants to do something different. And I do see other opportunities like Impact, AEW to a certain extent, to where somebody can have more room contractually to do other things. And that's why I say kudos to them, because even though I was making a lot, even if I was in WWE and I made a lot of money, I would feel creatively like I'd be letting myself down, or even business wise, that I would have to be hog pinned in a WWE machine and I couldn't go do outside things. So kudos to them. I hope they're super successful.
You just made a really, a valid statement in this mindset, and that is, take AJ Styles. AJ Styles, man, when he was with TNA, he was a shit fucking white baby face. I mean, they just misused him until near the end. And then, of course, his contract was going up. AJ was smart enough to say, instead of getting me stuck here, seeing where the company was going, let me go elsewhere. And he reinvented himself, like we've been kind of saying about people who, just kind of pick up and do their thing to kind of reestablish. Now that he's in the WWE, after his contract's up, basically he doesn't have to wrestle another fucking day now, because he has enough talent to do something like they're doing, or go join them on that show. He doesn't even have to wrestle.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And they'll sell a whole lot more too because AJ's there.
Yep, 100%. And,
Yeah.
and that's the good thing in the grand scheme of things. You think about it. Let WWE be what they want to be. And now that we have a bigger company like AEW in comparison to Impact, you have that opportunity, and that's a great option. I just wanted to put that out because I know we talked about it a long time ago with the launch of AEW and how excited that was. That was one of the excitement that I had for myself as seeing a product like that. An opportunity for people who no longer wanted to be in the machine of WWE and make great money and wanted to try something new.
Well, look, the one thing for sure, it seems like when people are let go from WWE, a lot of them say it's a blessing in disguise. It's interesting how that's one of the things that they say.
And let's also, really quick on the end of that, let's also remember that a lot of them end up going back there.
Oh, of course. Of course.
So we can, project this idea that I don't want to be in fucking this machine, blah, blah, blah. And then what happens? They end up going back there. I'm guaranteeing you right now. I'm
Zack Ryder will be back.
No, not Zach, but
I think he will.
No,
Who?
Zach, no.
Who will be back?
They don't have a
Oh,
need
Oh yeah.
He goes back again.
I think that will be very helpful. Probably 3 years from now.
Who?
I think he's still young. How old is EC3? Let's be real. I think he's still barely 32. I'm just guessing.
I don't know, but I doubt he's going back.
I figured Sensei Steve would have looked that up.
But remember again, the whole thing here is that no matter what he's doing now, he has what they like, and that is the look, and he can hold his own in the ring. So the thing is that he already had a shit run before, came back, did well in NXT, had a shit run up there. Guaranteed they give him another opportunity as long as he's, it's just the way that people go back.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just not your time.
By the way, he's 37.
37? Oh, okay. He get up there in age.
Yeah, but look at it. Even at 37,
he can still go.
We had to take a shot at late 20s, early 30s. Yeah.
I feel like that's something that's going to change. And I don't want to talk too much about it, but I'm starting to see a lot of older wrestlers, and not like EC3s, could still go. So I feel like that's changing the culture to where people that's in their late 30s can really still go. It ain't like you're 40, done go.
They keep themselves in shape now because the money is way better
than what it used to be. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, you guys, let's go over to our count 3 from Sports Skeeta. All right, just a little
doing that.
Just a little fun here. They have their 5 wrestling rumors that we hope are true and 5 that we hope aren't true. Now I'm gonna do the easiest thing and read both the truths and the untruths, and then you guys are going to only choose one of what you hope is either true or untrue. All right, so let's start with what we hope is true according to them. Number 5, that WWE surprising potential plans for the WrestleMania main event. Number 4, WWE planning a big change for Big E's push. Number 3, WWE's monstrous plans for Lars Sullivan. Number 2, WWE's continuing with Thunderdome. And number 1, WWE went with Roman Reigns, Jey Uso 2 over another match. Now, what we hope isn't true. Number 5, Vince McMahon perception on Andrade before and after the WWE draft. Number 4, WWE trainees afraid to return to the Performance Center. Number 3, WWE cancels Raw Underground. Number 2, WWE to open the dialogue for a John Cena and Undertaker return. And number 1, real life heat between Seth Rollins and Matt Riddle, resulting in a WWE draft change. Okay, King Lucky, out of all 10 of those, you could choose one. What do you hope is either true or not true, and give us the reason why?
Listen, I think you guys already know. But for people that don't know me, I'm all about the pyro, baby. Presentation. So I hope it's true that they extend their deal with the Amway Center.
Okay.
I mean, listen, the Thunderdome needs to continue throughout these uncertain times. It has given them a big show presentation. I like the pyro. You know, some people don't care. They can be perfectly fine in a sterile environment, you know, and they just focus on the in-ring wrestling. But I like the whole package, baby. Dress it up for me and put some fireworks and some flames and all that stuff. Tonight's show was a perfect example of, or Hell in a Cell is a perfect example of that. So thankfully.
If you had a pig, you'd be the first person to put lipstick on it.
Booyah. But thankfully, they've got out some of the morons that they had doing dumb stuff all on the screens in the back, and they utilized it more for, you know, fans that just want to be, you know, fans and participate, and then also sprinkle in a little bit of Hall of Fame talent and some regular talent. But Thunderdome, I hope it's true.
All right, Simon Street. Out of all the 10 here of what you hope is true or not true, you only get to choose one. Tell us what you choose and why.
I'll go ahead and choose the first one, Big E. I think that there's some changes, but I think it's for the positive. I think it's going to be, I think a lot of people do actually care since the draft, what's happening with New Day with regards to Big E and just what's the ceiling with that? You know, is this sky's the limit? I think Big E has proven that he can, you know, shift his silliness antics to being a person that holds a championship really soon. And so I'm super excited to see what happens with that. I think it's going to be something that's going to be celebrated, and we'll see what the hell happens. So I hope that is true.
Sin City Steve, this should be interesting. What do you hope is either true or not true from the selection?
Man, I hope it's not true that WWE is open to the dialogue for a John Cena and Undertaker return.
Hey, man,
I'm going to take the controversial stance on that one. We don't need to see Undertaker anymore.
I wouldn't mind
we really don't. And here's the thing. I'm not going to talk negatively about the Undertaker or anything that he's accomplished in the ring or within the business. What I'm saying is he went out on an absolutely perfect note.
Yeah.
You know, that cinematic match at WrestleMania was the way that he should have gone out. What, Michaels?
It's as if it would be as if we read tomorrow that Nolan Ryan is about to come back and pitch next year.
Right.
Exactly,
dude. Yep. Yeah. And so like, I think that, you know, we should let the Undertaker enjoy his retirement. He's earned it at this point. Also, as far as John Cena is concerned, there's no reason for him to return as a full-time roster member.
Full-time, though.
Again.
I agree with full-time.
I'm okay with him doing a one-off at a WrestleMania, you know, but as long as it's not an every year thing. You know, if somebody, you know, wants to do an angle where there's an idea of, you know, getting John Cena in for one more match at a WrestleMania, that's cool. I'm fine with that. But he does not need to be on that roster and taking spots from people that honestly need it more at this point. John Cena already is an established name within the business. So at this point, we need to be looking toward the future. And I think that this pandemic showed that more than anything in recent memory.
Sure. Let me ask you this. If John Cena were to get the call for WrestleMania, who does he face?
It's easy. Randy Orton.
Fuck no.
I would see that among other shit.
Because he just
you would need to use John Cena in a proper way to build up somebody that needs that win. So maybe somebody that, you know, somebody that would benefit from knocking off a John Cena. Randy Orton and John Cena has been done 847,922 times.
That person is not on the roster yet, Lucky.
There you go.
think of it as, and this is exactly what Steve means, is think of it like what John should be doing, and that is The Rock, right? Do you do the fucking entertainment aspect of things, period. I told him that 3 years ago, man. Fucking, when are you gonna just go with your fucking acting career, man? Because A, he's not putting the same hurt on his body, and B, he's at that point now where he doesn't need that extra WWE income. The problem with John is John really does love the business, period. Anyone can say anything about John, this, that, or the other. What fans don't realize is that he really does love the business, and that's the reason why he's been so hesitant to, kind of distance himself from it. So I think Steve's very, very good on that point.
Cool.
Thank you.
All right, let's move over to you then, Matt Michaels. What would you have chosen here? You got 10 options.
I'd go with the Lars Sullivan. Push Lars. Because you're at the point with him very easily. One thing. And that is, at this point, you have to share or get off the pot if you're him. And if you're the WWE, you got to know what you have in him. He hasn't had enough time where he's been in the stretch of health where he hasn't been out or juggling around or whatever. So take that shot. My only problem with them right now doing it is that they're having him look like a monster. But again, you have him in trunks with his fucking name on his ass, which is like, okay.
Would it be better if he didn't have his name on his ass and it was just red trunks? I feel that way.
Get rid of the red. Just
or maybe if the font was different.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't
Speaking
look like...
as somebody that deals with fonts and typesettings, that the font is absolutely fucking terrible.
Yeah, it looks horrible.
If you could design a pair of Lars Sullivan trunks,
fuck it, I'd be down.
That'd be awesome, dude.
I'd be down.
Go ahead, Steve. Do some work on Lars Sullivan's trunks.
No, I think that's it. This is it. This is his shot. And if he doesn't deliver on this shot, then that's it. But you have to take it. Just go with it and see what happens. And at this point, out of that whole list of things, I think that's the one thing that, it just makes sense realistically. See what you have, because honestly, I feel if Lars is not in the WWE, he's not going to any other company.
That's very true statement.
I could see him in All Japan.
I mean, possibly. I just don't know what his desire is.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I just threw out All Japan because obviously he would fit right in with King's Road and everything they love to do over there.
Sure. But I think, one of the reasons, Lucky, you don't like him is because he doesn't come off as someone who actually likes the business. And for instance, the difference between him and a Cameron Grimes is that Cameron Grimes, even though you might not like the character, you probably like the person because he seems like he wants to be there.
Yeah.
Lars just seems like he reminds me a lot of Ryback.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very good comparison.
Which is,
yeah.
You either, again, shit or get off the pot. So.
Well, there you have it. Guys, it's been fun. Let's get your final thoughts on this show and this week. Let's go with you, King Lucky, man. What do you want to tell the people out there?
Hey, big interview coming up, our special edition Halloween show this Friday. So be on the lookout for that one. We got Shaw Guerrero and Matt, formerly known as, in the WWE. So
Jesus.
Formerly known.
Formerly known as,
Yeah. But yeah, it's a good interview. So
8 in English.
Check it out.
8 in English.
8 in English. Yes, 8 in English.
Just to clear up that a little bit, Matt and Shaw are married. They met
Yes.
at the performance center when Shaw was training back then. And this is, they might even say it in the interview, but this is the first interview that they're doing together. And it's spooktacular.
That's awesome. Simon Street, man, what you want to tell the people?
I just want to tell everybody, just in general, continue to stay safe out there. If you don't know, you should know now. Go and vote. And I'm not going to go anywhere further than that. Just vote. And be safe out there and be kind to one another.
All right. Sin City, they want to hear your voice.
Ooh, who?
The people. The people want to hear it.
All right.
You said it like a bill collector. Who?
I know, right? So thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight in the chat. Thank you for listening to the show, subscribing, using the app, chatting in the chat room, all that kind of fun stuff. We do this for you. We appreciate you. So also, I want to give a special shout out to our boy, the Stormin' Mormon, and every single man and woman courageously serving this country abroad in our armed forces. Thank you for everything that you do. And also, as always, repsports.com, reppsports.com. Go there. They've got all sorts of pre-workout, wellness, weight loss, energy drinks, you name it, they got it. Repsports.com, reppsports.com. Use promo code Vegas at checkout and save yourself 15%.
Awesome. Matt Michaels, finish us off.
One of the things about Halloween is it's a time in which you can actually be something that you're not.
Mm-hmm.
And even with the pandemic happening, please honor the tradition of Halloween and fucking be something that you're not for a day. Why not? We can all use a fucking break. Halloween gives you the freedom to do that. Now, don't take it literal and like dress up like Dexter and go on a 24-hour killing spree and then be like, oh, it was Halloween. That's probably the wrong idea. But it's a good time. Hey, if you never tried dominatrix, fetish, Halloween,
S&M.
S&M. Hey, there is not another day in the year where you'll find as many sexy nurses or sexy school teachers or I don't know what sexy football players, I guess.
I agree, man. Hey, you know what? And also too, it's cold around Halloween in some places, and that all leather suit, it holds in a lot of body heat. It'll keep you warm if you're outside. Not firsthand information. I just heard somebody say that.
Not really weird there.
Yeah.
All right, that's what you got for us, Matt Michaels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not, and apparently dressed head to toe in leather, and
and don't forget
it's soft on the skin.
Don't forget the Gimp mask, I guess.
And Michaels, what is that little ball thing you put in your mouth? What is that thing called?
Oh, and that's it.
And don't forget, buy candy after Halloween. All right,
Day after
1st.
Halloween.
Yep, get the candy.
Are you supposed to buy it the day before, right? Because it's cheapest, right?
No, it's the day after, bro.
Hey,
It's
day
like
after,
75% off everywhere.
You're supposed to have kids. You know this. All right, man.
Man, I don't feed them motherfuckers kid candy. Shit. Hey, mama's.
All right, y'all. Thank you for hanging. Go ahead.
The prices go down after midnight on the 31st. So candy special is definitely the way to go.
Absolutely. Hey, guys, thanks for listening. We love you. We see you next week. Peace.
Peace.